Mara Keene wiped the same counter again, pretending not to hear her boss count the tips loud enough for everyone to notice. The food stall was hot, noisy, and smelled of frying oil. Outside, Everstead's fair was full of music and lights, but inside, Mara worked quietly for minimum wage. No one here knew she used to be Princess Marin of Eloria. She had escaped the palace a year ago, hiding behind a borrowed name. That night, she found a strange riddle scribbled on a food wrapper, and solving it would change her secret life forever. Mara's days followed the same routine: wake up early, work long hours, and keep her head down. Her small rented room above a bakery smelled of flour and dust. Every morning she stared into a cracked mirror, checking if her disguise still held. Her once royal hands were rough now, her accent dulled. She lived quietly, hoping the world had forgotten her face. Working at the fair was her best hiding place, where thousands passed without ever looking twice. She had finally learned how to be invisible. But deep down, the weight of her secret never left. She'd grown up in silk gowns and gold halls, taught to smile perfectly and never question authority. The palace had felt like a cage dressed in velvet. So when she heard her father planned to marry her off for political power, she ran. She took money from her own allowance, stole plain clothes from the maids' quarters, and vanished before dawn. She promised herself she'd never let anyone use her name again. Now, in Everstead, she worked for a man named Bruno, loud, impatient, and always ready to remind her she was replaceable. He cut her pay whenever he wanted, and called it training. She kept quiet, because blending in meant survival. The locals barely noticed her except for her work ethic. Every time she saw a royal crest printed on a news banner, she turned away. Her life was small but safe, and for Mara, safety was everything. The fair brought energy and chaos every summer. Vendors shouted, lights blinked, and children ran through the stalls. Bruno placed a chalkboard near their counter for customers to scribble jokes or puzzles. This year the board read, "Solve the royal riddle of Eloria, 1,000 gold reward." Mira froze. She recognized the design. The same riddle had been engraved into the castle's library wall. No one outside the royal family had ever seen it. Her heart raced, but she said nothing. That night, as she wiped down the counter, a customer left behind a crumpled flyer showing the same riddle symbols. Her hands moved before she could stop them, writing the answer on a napkin without realizing it. It was instinct, something she'd learned from her late mother during study hours. A few minutes later, the customer picked up that napkin, thanked her, and walked away. She thought nothing of it. She didn't know that napkin was about to expose her biggest secret. The next morning, Everstead buzzed with excitement. Someone had solved the kingdom's greatest riddle, a puzzle historians couldn't crack for decades. The local paper called it a miracle from a genius. Mara heard the news on a radio at the stall, her stomach twisting. When she saw a photo of the napkin in the paper, her heart stopped. The handwriting was hers. She'd written it right there on Bruno's counter, and now it was front-page news. Bruno laughed and claimed he was the one who found it, saying his stall must be blessed by luck. But strangers began showing up, asking who worked there the night before. One old man even said the riddle's answer contained royal codes that only the late queen's daughter would know. Mara stayed silent, but her pulse pounded in her ears. She couldn't let anyone connect the dots. She packed slower, hoping the rumors would fade, but deep down she knew they wouldn't. By afternoon, 2 men in dark coats arrived, showing badges from the Elorian Historical Society. They asked everyone at the fair about the mystery solver. When one of them described the person as a quiet girl with steady hands and a noble accent, Mara's chest tightened. She ducked behind the stall, heart racing. She knew that tone. They weren't historians, they were palace investigators. Her old life was catching up fast, and there was no safe place left to hide. That night, she locked herself in her room and tried to breathe. She stared at the tiny flame of her candle and thought about how far she'd come. All this time she wanted to disappear, but now her own mind had betrayed her. Solving a riddle out of habit had revealed everything she tried to forget. She considered running again. New name, new town, but part of her knew it wouldn't work this time. The kingdom was already searching. As night fell, she wandered through Everstead with no plan. People whispered her name, some with curiosity, others with resentment. She passed posters offering rewards for information leading to the safe return of Princess Marin. For the first time, she realized they weren't just searching for her, they were also using her story to distract the public from something bigger. The riddle had meant more than a game. It was connected to corruption inside the palace. The next morning, she saw her face online. A blurry photo of her serving food at the fair was being compared to old portraits of Princess Marin. People commented about the similar eyes. The image spread everywhere within hours. Her boss shouted that he didn't want trouble and told her not to come back. She stood frozen as her coworkers stared, whispering, it was over. Her life as Marakeen had ended the moment someone connected her name to the crown. An older woman approached her quietly outside a bakery. It was Elsie, a retired teacher who once taught at the Royal Academy. She recognized Mara immediately but didn't raise her voice. Instead, she offered her a place to rest for the night. Inside Elsie's small cottage, Mara felt warmth she hadn't known in months. She finally told the truth, how she'd solved the riddle without realizing its importance. Elsie listened without judgment, just quiet understanding. Mara explained that the riddle wasn't random. It was part of a secret her mother, Queen Alara, had hidden years ago. Solving it unlocked the first clue to a sealed archive that could expose who had been stealing from the kingdom's treasury. That man was her father's top advisor, Lord Varin. The riddle's symbols were actually coordinates to the vault he used to hide stolen royal assets. By solving it, Mara had unknowingly uncovered proof of betrayal. Elsie urged her to come forward, but Mara hesitated. The palace would twist the story, call her unfit, maybe even accuse her of treason. She'd lost faith in royal justice. Still, she couldn't forget her mother's voice saying, "Truth protects the innocent." That night, Mara decided she couldn't keep hiding. She wrote down everything she remembered about the vault and the clues. If she couldn't fight as a princess, she'd fight as the girl who once lived among the people.